Look at you drinking a beer. Must be furlough time.
That's right. Although it's a shutdown in name only, they're like, hey, you're still working.
Oh, yeah.
Don't worry about what's happening out there.
Fantastic. Here we are, Abe Cast Iron Balls, a podcast about sports. My name is Bob, sitting across the way from my good friend and co-host. That's Abe. How you doing tonight, Abe?
Doing well, Bob.
Yeah, here we are. Lori's here too. How you doing tonight, Lori?
I'm many ways.
Lori is many ways. Tonight is Wednesday, October the 1st, 2025. 9 months through 2025. 3/4 of the way done. How can that be?
It's crazy, isn't it? I mean, there's playoff baseball. It's weird. I mean, the weather is still warm, but can't believe we're into October.
Here.
We are on the first day of a 3 or 4 day stretch of perfect early fall weather, where we're topping out at 74 degrees, getting into that with no humidity, and it's you wake up, it's 45 or so,
right?
And a nice slow climb and a slow descent. Just perfect fall weather right now.
That's perfect weather, period. But yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's great.
All right, Abe. We first order of business here on Cast Iron Balls is, as always, to live bet the games. Unfortunately, Abe, you had me live bet a soccer match last time. You were certain that the home team was going to come through, and I lost $5 because of it. Was it Brighton, or was there who was involved?
It was Chelsea and some other team.
Let's see. I can pull up my bet history here. Go back through a bunch of college football losses to it was Chelsea v. Brighton.
Yes.
And Chelsea lost, sadly.
Are you getting prompts from the app about needing help? It's you typically don't are you such a degenerate? Now you're betting overseas.
You're betting on
soccer?
Yeah.
Really?
on Premier League soccer and women's collegiate volleyball.
That's right.
What the fuck is wrong with you? We have preemptively dialed 1-888 gamble help or whatever the fuck that number is.
Yeah.
No, the app is perfectly fine with me wasting my money in such a fashion, believe it or not. Tonight, Abe, we have the Reds taking on the Dodgers. You mentioned that the Major League Baseball playoffs are underway. The Dodgers currently lead their best-of-3 wildcard series 1-0 after a 10-5 victory in Game 1, in which Blake Snell was the dominant starter for the Dodgers, allowing just one hit in 6 innings. Shohei Ohtani, Teoscar Hernandez both hit 2 home runs. And then, Tommy Edman also hit a home run. Just as if it weren't enough that you have got Shohei Ohtani and then Mookie Betts and then Freddie Freeman in that fucking lineup. Then Tommy Edman is I'll hit a fucking tater.
Right.
I'm a Dodger. Who cares? And then it got ugly. The bullpen, after Snell went out, the bullpen gave up 5 runs, I think. But I think the Dodgers have their ace going tonight. Some other Japanese fella. But they are the home favorite, minus 1.5 runs or minus 290 on the money line. It is Game 2 of a potentially three-game series. Winner moving on to face the Phillies in the division round, who are currently on a bye. Abe, who you got tonight?
It's a 2-game sweep. I'm going to go with the Dodgers.
Are we giving minus 1.5, or are we just going to go with the money line and play it safe?
Take the safe route, money line it.
It'll be a $5 bet to return $1.72.
Oh. You're successful at those dollar returns,
Every little bit helps.
It does. Every little bit helps.
We will discuss your gallivanting ways on the other podcast, I think. So let's just get right into the sports that you largely missed while you were gone.
Quite a weekend.
In retrospect, so the only thing that the only games that I watched were the Georgia-Alabama game. I made sure to turn off any sort of notifications. It was a honest experience. I did not know what was happening, and then I watched the whole game, and entirely Bob's fault, as I will explain soon. And then the Colts game also. Interestingly enough, multiple people sent to me a clip of Tyreek Hill's leg injury. Like, I guess that's I'm known for, that somehow got through. It's like, I know you're overseas and there's a wedding and whatnot, but have you seen this injury? And I watched it. It was pretty gnarly.
Yeah, those are your sports highlights for the weekend.
Yes, and then I saw on my app that that you guys were going to a game in person, and it was a crazy ending.
Yeah.
And I didn't know about it until
Friday night was about the best football game that I've ever been in attendance for.
It was really great.
It was an awful lot of fun.
It's remarkable, and Laura, you've always poo-pooed this town for not caring about football, but they seem like a football. Fan.
What they were not showing was the upper deck, which was empty.
Oh, okay.
What they were showing.
So I don't think it's fair to say that it was empty. This stadium
I can share the video.
No, by the end of this game.
In the beginning, it was like splattered.
So by the time the game was well underway and everybody was in their seats more or less. And like it wasn't a question of like people wandering or like, right before halftime, people get up and leave. Like, at max capacity, my estimate for the total fill of butts in seats was about 85 or 90%.
Okay.
And that includes a couple of sections of the upper deck that were largely empty, like the worst corner upper deck spots were basically empty. There's also the fact that apparently lots of folks buy tickets for the upper deck and then just go hang out in the end zone where it's just a big lawn.
Okay.
You can just get there.
You can just kind of walk onto it.
So basically, they just buy the ticket just to get in, and then they go sit at the lawn area.
Right. And so you cannot expect for there always to be all of the butts in the seats.
No, it won't always be all, but
we were seated we were basically surrounded by Florida State people. Like there was a whole, I would say it was about 60-40 UVA Florida State. Like there was a healthy contingent of Florida State folks in the stadium. And they were arguably louder. Like when it mattered, I think they were probably louder.
we were also closer to them.
But we were also closer to them. So maybe it's not fair to say that.
You guys were wearing neutral colors. No one could tell.
No, we were wearing UVA colors.
Yeah, because they wanted to do a blue out. Where like they had announced to the fans to like wear navy, I think, and so we wore navy if we had it. I was wearing a Navy Braves T-shirt to the game, which is as close as I could get, and my Bulldogs hat, because I'm not about to not represent the Bulldogs at the college football game. But yeah, an overtime win, double overtime win, I suppose, for the Virginia Cavaliers.
I do have one question. This is the first thought I had when I saw the highlights were. Almost immediately, people stormed this. I mean, almost. I've never seen such a quick,
It's the fastest field storming I think that's ever happened. Yeah, because there's no barrier to entry on that side of the end zone specifically. There's no fence that you have to hop over.
You just go.
There's no set of stairs.
I see.
It's just that the lawn it slopes up and away into a big hill, but everybody just sits on the lawn, and then there's a slope down. And it just goes right into the field. Like it's just grass until it's turf.
They have people standing there until they don't.
Right. So it was perfectly set up for a storm the field situation. So my question, and I'll pose it to you, Bob. Were you taken in the spectacle and enjoying the moment, or were you standing in judgment of the people? Because I know you're not a fan of storming the field.
Why
what
are you posing this as an either or?
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course, you can be both. Good for them, and how pathetic.
I mean, the last time that they did this was apparently almost exactly 20 years ago.
I think they've stormed the
or
field
30 years
since
ago,
then.
1995, I think.
They've stormed the field since then, just not
they?
Against a ranked Florida State.
Gotcha.
They storm the field whenever. There's
but
nothing there.
We got to see what is arguably like the biggest win in the history of the program. Like a very cool, fun win. And it's funny, Castellanos, the quarterback for Florida State, who for whatever reason I feel like we watched like half of BC's games last year. I don't know if they just happened to be. I think they were on a bunch of Friday nights, and so like they were the only game on. So we watched a bunch of BC last year, and they started out kind of hot, as I recall. I think
That new coach.
before falling off. The guy who used to coach the Texans. What's his name? Who's the BC coach? He used to coach in the NFL.
The Texans. Oh yes, I know that guy.
Yeah, him.
Bill something.
Bill O'Brien.
Yeah,
Yes, B.O.B.
Anyway, Castellanos, kind of one of these run around, make shit happen kind of quarterbacks. And he would run around and make shit happen. He's not that great. Like he didn't, he's fine. But what was encouraging, of course, was like, oh, well, Virginia can beat Florida State. And Florida State humiliated Alabama.
Yes.
And just, I was doing some math there.
Humiliated an Alabama that was not trying.
In just a few short hours, we get to play Alabama. This should be fun the next day.
It wasn't. It wasn't fun.
I will say that the UVA game overall, just a tremendous experience. We are a mile door to door from the stadium, and it's funny because if you think about our house in Athens, Georgia, on a game and there's a game night experience happening, like we would be landlocked essentially, right? Like our neighborhood.
No, we would be fucking rich, is what we would be.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
We would have money.
But our neighborhood would be completely overrun with tailgate and people just parking, like pulling up onto your lawn and just putting their car there.
They can park on our lawn for $50, all they want.
Right, but no one parks in our neighborhood to then walk to the game.
Maybe like the front entrance.
Right. Occasionally, maybe you see like 5 or 6
10.
cars there near the front that don't belong. It's like, oh man, could these be people who are walking the 15 or 20-minute walk down the road here to the stadium? But there's basically no evidence whatsoever, despite the fact that we should have a sea of tailgaters in our neighborhood anytime there's a home game, as close as we are, and it doesn't happen.
Well, that's interesting that for a game where it was 70 to 90% full, depending on who you believe, you would think that game you should see some evidence of they're
yeah, it's just not big. It's only what they put maybe 60,000. They put maybe 60,000 people in there, and for I don't know, people park elsewhere. I guess
There's a parking deck.
There's parking, like surface lots around the stadium and stuff. But it's just funny because in Athens, the whole town feels overrun.
Yeah.
Anytime, like for 3 days, it feels overrun. And there's just none of that here. It's sometimes awkward traffic patterns for you're
an
like,
hour or two. I
two.
Shouldn't have gone this way.
Yeah.
Man,
I should have gone the other way.
For that to be your UVA game for the year is remarkable. Like, I mean, when's the last time they've had...
For the century.
Yeah. Like, that is a remarkable game to attend.
And the other game we've been to also went to overtime.
Yeah, the Tech game that we went to a couple of years ago was also an overtime game. A very silly, no defense played kind of game.
Did UVA prevail or did they lose out?
I don't remember because it was also a Braves World Series Game 6 or NLCS Game 6 kind of night.
That's
and it's like I cared almost entirely about that rather than the stupid. I was just mad at the football game for still going on when I was missing the Braves game on television. But yeah, a fantastic night. And it's funny. What's frustrating is the experience of being in the stadium is terrific. Like I went and I got snacks with the kids and it only took us 4 or 5 minutes to get through the line and to get snacks and go back to our seats. Another time I went up to grab a beer.
All very fast.
I got up for the TV
one's there.
timeout. But that's the thing. It was pretty full. And where we were was entirely full. So it's like I got up for the TV timeout and went to get a beer. And I was back before the next play. How cool is that? I missed none of the action. And the thing that I'm saying is frustrating is this should be something that they are encouraging people to do because it is fun and easy. And instead, it costs way too much money for it to be something that you can just do because you feel like it.
It is so annoying, and I have been complaining about it to everyone. Why? Okay, admittedly, I'm not going to a UVA game on a Saturday. Right. I'm sorry. I miss too much football. I am in the minuscule minority of people in this town who want to watch college football on TV on my couch. Nobody cares here.
Right.
Bobby Petrino is the coach at Arkansas
Yeah.
because Sam Pittman got fired. And I say that to people, and they're like, I don't know who those people are. And it's like, I know you don't. It's fine.
Right.
This is not that place. It should be so stupid to not go to a UVA game. It should be, I could take the whole family for $50 and get snacks. It's right there. We'll park at Bob's house.
Right. Just
But they don't want to because it's $50 a ticket at the cheapest.
Make it trivially easy to get in the door. Make the atmosphere that much better. And then you build program momentum from there.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. They won't do it.
But there's just no incentive because like they make it cheaper to get in. Now they have to pay more people to work the concessions or to be ushers or whatever. And then they need to sell that much more popcorn and hot dogs. And all of the real money is just coming from television anyway.
Right.
So like they have basically no incentive to really make it something that matters to anybody actually in the stadium. And also, I say that it was a good experience. Turn the fucking music down. Turn the stupid PA down. It does not have to be that loud. Like, it was nearly impossible to have a conversation with Lori or Calvin, who were sitting right next to me. Right? Like, it's
all the time.
The
whole time.
All the time.
Yeah.
Right? Like up until the very moment that the ball is put in play, the PA is utterly overwhelming.
Right. This is a problem with live sports in general. Like, they just won't leave you be for like half a second. It's like there's got to be something happening, and it's usually just noise.
Yeah. Anyway, awesome game, awesome time, and you just cannot beat being able to walk a mile to a stadium like that and have that experience, and then walk a mile home and just be done with it. But that's Friday night, and anybody who tuned in to watch either that game or the other Friday night game, the TCU-Arizona State game, which was also a fun one, and then also the third Friday night game, Houston-Oregon State, ended up going to overtime also. So the weekend started off in promising fashion, and then the next day happened.
Which was good until the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't have to talk about it.
The game started, again, Georgia gets in the hole, and you're thinking maybe they'll climb out of it. But why did this keep happening where they get in a hole? The same thing happened with Tennessee. I believe Alabama did not score once in the second half, right? But it was enough to win the game. Like, it was 24
Correct.
points in the
There was
first
only one score in the second half, and it was us. It was a touchdown in the third quarter.
So doesn't that speak
I just don't feel like it's worth talking about.
But doesn't that speak to a preparation? Like, if Tennessee starts hot and Alabama starts hot, and then eventually there are in-game adjustments, like why were they able to hold off Alabama in the second half? Like, maybe Alabama's just trying to run out the clock.
Know.
But I wonder what's going on there with, there were a lot of complaints after the game about the coordinators and whatnot. But what's going on with the first quarter or so of Georgia?
We don't know, and we're not going to figure it out here.
Right.
So you have to just be okay with the fact that at least lately Georgia doesn't lose the clunkers. Like, we lose to good teams. Last year we lost to a couple good teams. This year we've lost to one good team.
But it appears
who knows?
If it were just a Nick Saban problem, you can live with that. It's like one of the best, if not the best. He probably is the best head coach in college football. You can live with that, right? What are you going to do? But to lose to this bum coach, Alabama's a good team, but they're not that much. They're not better than Georgia. Like, it's not like this is a lopsided kind of thing. And it almost doesn't seem to matter how good Alabama is. They always show up to play Georgia. They keep it close.
Yeah.
And
LSU and Auburn, they show up for the big games.
Yeah.
This DeBoer guy apparently has had a real problem with lesser opponents when he was at Washington as well.
Oh, really? So this is a similar thing where,
yeah.
This is a multifaceted problem, and to not acknowledge that it's a problem is to bury your head in the sand as a Georgia fan and say, well, The only reason that they were able to end our 6-year home winning streak is because we had a 6-year home winning streak. So we must be pretty fucking awesome. And like we were saying back in 21 and 22, eventually Georgia's going to lose a game, right? Like you have to lose games eventually. You cannot simply win over and over again forever. But also,
especially now,
to insist that nothing is wrong or that there's just more parity in the sport is to not be willing to face uncomfortable truths about your own football program, which I think it must be said, this defense has not been what this defense is supposed to be. And I think in part because of the way it is constructed. We are terrific against the run. We would dominate this sport in 1985 and 1997 and maybe in 2017. But this is not your dad's or your uncle's or your big brother's SEC any longer, right? The reason that Tennessee was able to do what they did against us is because they throw the shit out of the ball, right? The reason that Alabama was able to do what they did against us is because on third down, that motherfucker was like 12 of 13 or something.
Remarkable
right? Like,
third down conversion.
It doesn't matter.
13 of 16 or something.
So it almost doesn't matter how good you are against the run if you simply cannot defend in the secondary.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, what's kind of funny about the complaints about our inability to stop the pass is that, and this was a comment on some dog's message board that was sent to me. Our problem defensively is internal. It's a philosophy. You can see it in the defensive bodies we recruit, the way we line up, the way we pursue. We play every down like it's a rundown. We play the run first, then transition into pass. This leads to a lack of pressure on the quarterback. That's totally fine against teams dedicated to running the ball and teams you're just more talented than. But good quarterbacks, offenses comfortable passing to win, well-designed offenses are going to eat us up. We have to play good pass rushers in lieu of the guy ahead of him who stuffs the run better. Our corners should probably try laying hands on the receiver at least a little if they're going to bother playing up on them at the line of scrimmage. To which I said, you can kind of see how that nevertheless keeps us in games. It's hard to rely on just the passing game, especially with the athletes we have. You have to be perfect, which Ty Simpson nearly was in this game, right? Until, anyway, the second half. In the first half, he was basically flawless. And so when you come up against an offense that can play the game perfectly, you're going to have serious problems. And that goes basically for any defense in history, but one that we are simply not equipped to handle, like a passing offense, like the one that we faced the other day, is going to be a problem.
Right.
And I think it is. I think it is fundamentally philosophical. Kirby Smart wants to stop the run and then figure out the rest from there. And I think he thinks, in part because he's right, I think he thinks that if you can stop the run, if you can turn a team fully one-dimensional, it is the rare offense that can make you truly pay for that in the long run. Right. And if you have an offense that can hang with most other teams in the country, then yeah, sure, let's get into a shootout, and we'll have Oklahoma, the Oklahoma Rose Bowl game. We'll have that game against Alabama for the national title. We'll have that game against Ohio State where they missed a field goal, right? Like we'll get into those sorts of games and be able to score enough to stay in it. And everybody else will just own, right? Nobody else can survive only throwing the ball, except for the occasional rare elite team.
Right. You know, to your point about like this style of play being more effective in a different era, like Georgia had like 200 plus rushing yards. Like, I mean, they ran the ball so well. And yet they trailed literally all game. I don't think there was any point where they were up.
Yep.
Yeah. Pop quiz, hot shot. Who was the last UGA player to give the Dogs a lead at home against the Alabama Crimson Tide?
You did this on purpose, didn't you?
Didn't we do this last time?
It's still Billy Bennett.
The streak
the
continues.
Same kid that it was last week.
Right.
From 2003.
And we'll never know if we're above storming the field. The other point,
No, we are.
if you were to look at missed opportunities, Alabama had an easy touchdown drop. Georgia had an easy touchdown drop.
But then they did score
there's
a
a
touchdown.
difference. The touchdown drop by that teenager who I think is still somehow
Williams.
17. that drive resulted in a touchdown.
Right. Yeah.
When our freshman wide receiver dropped the score, that would have given us the lead. We didn't score any more points for the rest of the
slightly
game,
worse,
which is the important difference.
And then Georgia fumbles the ball. I don't think Alabama had a turnover. I don't believe.
On their 5-yard line, as I recall.
But then the biggest missed opportunity, and this I guess is a coaching decision. There was a field goal opportunity to have the game be like a tie, right? Like this was like in the fourth quarter. The decision was made to like, fuck it, let's go aggro and go for it, and it doesn't take. And so
I've thought a lot about the decision not to kick the field goal there to tie the game. Because it was really fucking with me as the game wore on. It was like, man, how does he not kick that field goal there? Like, how do you not at least tie this game? Because like philosophically, the thought is we're stopping them. They're not scoring any more points in this game. And to that point, they had held them to no points after the disastrous first half. Right? They defense sort of had gained control, and part of that, I suspect, is I think DeBoer is a little bit of a inherently conservative butt clencher, right? The only reason that we had any chance in the game against them last year, after they got out to a 28-0 lead, was because their offense sort of half closed up shop in the second half because he didn't think that he needed, like, whatever it is. Like, I'm not saying that necessarily it wasn't good coaching halftime adjustments by Kirby and the defense, but like, I think it's fair to say that they were not taking the exact same approach in the second half as they had taken on those first few drives.
I mean, to be fair, if you're up 28-0, I don't know what the ESPN Predictometer would tell you, but like to be risk averse in that situation would make some sense. You don't want to be like completely risk averse, but you have a different path now. You're just trying to win the game.
Right. But if the thought is we're not going to let them score again, right? And so we want to take the lead. At the same time, if you're not going to let them score again, kick the field goal.
Yeah, that's
and then hold them after you kick the ball off.
Right.
But I think ultimately, because we had been, and here's the other thing. So we've been running the ball for like fucking 9 yards ago.
Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah.
Much of the game.
Yeah.
And the Bowens kid is awesome, as it turns out.
That was cool. We hadn't done that in a while.
Yeah, it's great.
So that was nice.
I hope we do it again against Kentucky.
I hope so too.
Yeah. And so yeah, you're thinking third and short, but here's the thing. If you have someone who's a third down specialist, right? When you say a third down running back, what does that mean to you, Abe, the football fan?
They can get short yardage.
No, not in this offense, it's not, right? Cash Jones is the third down back for the Georgia offense. And he is basically a blocking specialist, the guy who knows he's been around for 4 or 5 years, so he knows the offense very well. He's not going to miss assignments when it comes to blocking, and he will be good about leaking out into an empty part of the backfield there as an outlet receiver, right? Like there's a lot of that goes on with Cash Jones. What he's not is he's not Ron Dane, right? He's not the bowling ball who, when it's 3rd and 1, you just put the ball in his belly and get him behind a tight end and hope he falls over for 4.5 feet, right? That's not who Cash Jones is. And so when you put Cash Jones in on 3rd and short, and then you run with him, I think he has 16 carries for 14 yards or something like that in this year or whatever. His last 14 carries, I think, have gone for 16 yards, and I think one of those is a 12-yard rush, right? So he's not going to be the dude. And what we have is with Bowens and with Frazier, who admittedly had put the ball on the ground once. So if you want to keep him in the doghouse, fine. But Bowens is doing it, and then what's the other kid's name? We don't know, Lori?
No, I don't know. I don't know their names anymore.
The other running back has been doing it and running hard, running violently, and not doing and Frazier's been driving me nuts this year. He's picked up this weird stutter step thing that he does, where he does this. He stutter steps and he jerks his fist back and forth really quick before he finally fucking picks a hole to go to. And I think he's trying to be smarter about like picking his spots and not just ramming right up, running up the legs of the lineman in front of him, which is fine. But it's just not as effective as what Bowens had been doing that entire game. Don't take Bowens out of the game on 3rd and short, especially if in your head, if you're Kirby, or in this case, if you're fucking Mike Bobo, you know that if this 3rd and short fails, you're going to want to play hurry up in order to get off another play in order to go for it on 4th and 1 or 4th and 6 inches or whatever the 4th and is. And in order to do that, you cannot take Cash Jones off the field because then you give Alabama a chance to substitute. Right. But also, go ahead and give Alabama a chance to substitute because you are breaking off 9 yards every single time you put the ball in your good running back's belly. Like, just stop it with the 3rd down back fucking nonsense. Put the ball in the hand of the guy who has been doing it all game long and see where that takes you.
That's what's frustrating about this. I don't mind going for it in that situation, but if you're going to do that, you should be confident in a particular play design, something that you've been kind of building up towards the whole game, and something either creative if you don't have like a Rondane type or somebody who can just kind of run up the middle, like some sort of whatever. If you had like a Brock Bowers, it would make things easier, but you don't.
Having Brock Bowers would make things easier, yeah.
But like if you don't have like a kind of like a special player in that situation, this is not a desperation situation. You can either tie it. Your defense has held them to no points so far. The game, I don't know how many minutes there were left, but like you don't go for that play.
6.
Yeah, so so you can basically hold them again and then maybe kick a go-ahead field goal to win the game, right? So the opportunity was there. If you liked something, if there's something that you really liked, go for it. But when you have Cash Jones and okay, credit to the Alabama player for tripping him, but let's say he didn't trip him. There was another Alabama player ready to tackle him. So it's not like that was, just like...
How many times does Cash Jones get 3 yards after first contact, do you think? As opposed to like everybody else on the Georgia roster.
Honestly, I'm not sure. That's a good question.
It never happens, right? Cash Jones is not going to break tackles against the Alabama defensive line.
Right.
There are dudes in our backfield. The other kid's name, by the way, is Dwight Phillips, number 20.
Oh.
Is the running back. But that's not who I was thinking of. It was John McCray, number 2. But whatever, Chauncey Bowens was the dude who was doing it. 12 carries for 120 yards.
Also, fantastic name.
9.9 yard average, and you give it to Cash Jones. And I just don't understand why he's even in the game at that point. But that aside...
Did Cash Jones also get the next possession that was resulted in a turnover on downs also?
I don't remember. He had 2 touches the whole game, so I don't think so.
Okay.
There's another questionable moment in this game where I think we punted because we punted to give them the ball. We had the ball at midfield. I think it was like 4th and 7 or something like that.
Yeah.
Should do a fake punt instead.
With 4 minutes to go. No, you have to go for it there. You have to try to keep the ball. You are losing. You're not tied. You didn't kick that fucking field goal, right? You give up a first down and you are done, right? You cannot punt the ball there at midfield or wherever it was.
But that was
the 40.
4th and long. That was that's what I just looked up the thing. It was a 3rd and 9 midfield, and Cash Jones ran for a loss and became 4th and 13, and then they punted. So you're saying even if it was 4th and long, you would still go for it with 3 minutes to go? I mean,
I think you have to, yes, because you're a first down or 2 first downs away from losing this game, which was the result. We gave up 2 first downs, and the game was over.
Yeah.
It must be said that we lost Dan Lanning, and then a year later, we lost the guy who currently coaches for the Baltimore Ravens, is the Baltimore Ravens OC.
Todd Monken?
Todd Monken. And we haven't been the same team since. And you can blame it on the Jimmies and the Joes. You can blame it on
the transfer portal.
The transfer portal and all of that stuff. We have put together consecutive top 2 or top 3 recruiting classes for each of the years since those recruiters have left. And we simply have not been as good as we were during those years. And I think that the thing that separated Nick Saban from everyone else who's ever done this is that he would lose coordinators every year or two and replace them with dudes who would go on to have great careers, first for him and then elsewhere. Right? It happened over and over and over again. And when Kirby Smart had the opportunity to replace Dan Lanning, he went with Glenn Schumann, who's not. No one is banging down Georgia's door to hire Glenn Schumann right now.
Every year.
And when Todd Monken went to go be Lamar Jackson's offensive coordinator in the NFL, he went and hired his college buddy Mike Bobo, a guy who Georgia people, rightly or wrongly, despised. Kirby did that because he wanted to lay his balls on the table and say, have a load of these. Right. I'm going to hire the guy who you said couldn't do it, who became the thanks Obama to the Georgia fan base, right? Run the ball, Bobo. Run the damn ball, Bobo. People despised Mike Bobo for the way that he ran this offense a decade earlier. And then he went and had a absolutely nothing career at Colorado State. And Kirby Smart said, no, I'm going to bring him back because he's my dude. And we're going to win championships anyway. And that's fine if you keep winning championships. But if the result is more of this, people are going to start to get antsy.
Right.
People started to get antsy 2 years ago.
Do you anticipate a coaching change in the offseason at the coordinator spots?
Good luck. There's too many other jobs.
I mean, I hope that Kirby has it in him to change the offensive coordinator, but at some point there has to be an admission that something isn't quite right here. And you give up the sort of yards and points that we're giving up to Tennessee and Alabama, and there's no recognition or nothing. You don't ever admit that there must be something wrong with your scheme or with your preparation. That's a problem.
I need to defend Kirby for 1 minute.
All right, let's hear it.
Because remember 2017, 18, 19, 2019, LSU, and Kirby was always on about man ball. You were always on about Kirby being on about man ball.
Yep, grown man ball.
Yeah. And then he realized after getting destroyed by LSU, maybe the best team ever that year, that like his method wasn't working. And so he found someone in Todd Monken to help change it. So he is not a person who will not admit that what he's doing isn't working.
Is he going to fire his friend Mike Bobo?
Yeah.
All right, we'll see.
I mean, I don't know. I would never pretend to know. I'm just saying that I don't think Kirby is above admitting that what he's doing isn't working if it isn't working. Last year, we went to the SEC championship and won.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right.
You know,
but
so
also,
we have to lose more games for there to be a big change made.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't want to lose more games.
We can still win the SEC championship. I fully believe that we can still win the SEC championship because the way that this sport is currently designed, there are, we're going to make the playoff in all likelihood if we beat. We probably only have to beat either Ole Miss or Texas in order to still be in the playoff. But my guess right now is that we beat both of those teams because we should have beaten Alabama. That's the sick thing. Yeah. All of the complaining that I'm doing, in the same way that we walked away from the Tennessee game going, man, we probably shouldn't have won that game. Tennessee was way better than we were today. I walked away from that Alabama game going, there are half a dozen different moments in that game where if things break just in the slightly different direction, we win that game. And it is dumb that we didn't win that game because we played better than they did for longer than they did.
Georgia's currently a plus 600 to win the SEC title. And they're behind Alabama and somehow Texas.
It's such a mess.
Yeah. The SEC should be interesting this year. I mean, they're just random teams that are undefeated. I'm sure we'll talk about Vandy included. I will say just 2 quick points, final points on the Alabama side. The fat man play was amazing. I like how they utilized. If it was going to be either Cash Jones or just some fat guy, just give it to him to get that 1 yard on fourth down. But that was fun, and also one of the best shanks by the Alabama field goal kick.
Oh yeah,
it was just an amazing
call back to the Ohio State shank at midnight, right? Like just an absolute no doubter.
Yeah.
I changing the subject slightly. Back to the UVA game. I generally prefer not to watch football games in person because I feel like you can't see as much.
Yeah, that's true.
I take that back when it comes to the penalty flags.
Oh.
I like that you can see that yellow flag from everywhere and at home we have to wait
Yeah, that's right.
until a little sign pops up. But at the field, it's like, oh, there goes that flag.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's
Yeah,
fun.
that's a good point.
The only
Also,
problem.
what?
I was gonna say the only problem with our seats was that because we were sort of down in the end zone, and it's hard to judge how many yards
it's
a
impossible.
run is going for.
Yeah.
Like you have, like there's just
Could be
you get a little bit of
none.
context with where the lines are relative to where the player is, but like it's just very hard to
Yeah,
judge.
That's why I don't like.
So I found
that's
myself
why I don't like it.
looking up at the video board rather frequently whenever there was a run play, just to try to figure out how far that run went for.
So, and I think that of the, like, if I had to choose, you can be a Georgia fan this weekend, or you can be a Penn State fan this weekend. I will choose Georgia, barring everything else, because ouch.
Poor Penn State. Another big game.
I know.
Oh, man.
I'll take Georgia, losing to one team all the time rather than any good team
yeah,
all the time.
Penn State looked like a total fucking dumpster fire for the vast majority of that game before finally figuring it out and forcing that game into overtime. The cope with that is strong, right? They had scored
They tried
3
real hard
points.
at the end.
3 points until they got to the fourth quarter, and then scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter to force overtime. I don't know. I don't know what it says about any of it, except, I mean, the cope is, hey, we didn't lose that game the way we've lost all of those other games before, right? Like this was hard fought. We weren't embarrassed, and we weren't humiliated last year in the playoff either, right? Like we've held our own against, so we're making progress here against top talent across the country.
Yeah, I guess that's
But-
one way to look at it, yeah.
But yeah, the problem is you keep losing, and if this is going to be your year, good luck, because you still have to make your way through. I think they have Indiana relatively soon.
Well, this week they have UCLA, so that's good. And that's how I said it to a Penn State fan client of mine today.
They've got UCLA, Northwestern, and Iowa, and then they have Ohio State and Indiana back to back. I mean, I guess you can still get in the playoff if you lose to Oregon, Ohio State, and Indiana. Can you get in if you're Penn State with those 3 losses?
It will
I feel like
depend
you've
on
got to win.
everything.
You've got to win one of those, right? Because presumably those are 3 potential playoff teams themselves. So you can't be behind any of those 3 teams.
Right.
We just don't know.
Yeah, still
We're
early
just gonna
days,
have
but
to watch the football.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. What else happened last weekend? There was...
you know, last week wasn't there some talk about there was some girlfriend scam, like some player weeks, like for LSU, the LSU Ole Miss game. How did that
Scam?
'Cause I'm looking. Yeah, wasn't there some sort of operation that they're trying to undermine? If there was some sort of
I mean, some people were reading into it.
LSU lost.
yeah, LSU did lose. So I'm wondering, is that how isn't that how it worked? Basically, it was like a LSU, the daughter of Lance Kiffin. Went out with some player on the LSU team, and now the LSU team lost. So maybe the scam.
That must be it.
Yeah.
Yes. Now she has to go and she's got to date somebody from all of the schools, I'm afraid. Sorry, sweetheart.
I'm sure she's happy too.
It would become obvious at that point. If she's going down the schedule.
Would it though to dummies?
Yeah.
She's hot.
LSU still can't run the ball. They don't have much of an offense. That either what's his name? Nussmeier is either bad or injured or some combination
Yeah.
thereof.
They're kind of admitting that he's kind of injured now.
This is a rough start to the great quarterback class of this year. You know, like
It's
like
so
Arch
funny.
and my boy, the Heisman guy, and now the Nussmeier. Like nobody seems to be like living up to the hype so far.
Yep.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Trinidad Chambliss at Ole Miss is like made that a job impossible to hand back to Austin Simmons, who everybody thought was going to be awesome. But yeah, Ole Miss is good, and it's going to be awfully fun when they come to Athens in not too long from now. Texas A&M outlasts Auburn in a defensive struggle. Indiana hangs on against Iowa to win 20-15 after their big win the week before against Illinois. Speaking of Illinois, wins an exciting game against USC at home 34-32. Notre Dame makes Jimmy Carter look like a total moron. Scoring, they had 50-something point. What do they have? They had like 42 points, I think, in the first half against Arkansas, resulting in the Sunday morning firing of Sam Pittman.
Jimmy Carter got Sam Pittman fired. Maybe for the to get him back to Georgia, to get him like in a Georgia situation. I don't know what his scam is, but like this is entirely Jimmy's fault.
Yeah. Let's see what else happened. Georgia Tech with a 1-point win in overtime against Wake Forest because Wake Forest went for 2 in the first overtime to try to win that game.
Oh, there was a blown call. Did you not see that?
I don't remember.
Oh, like Wake Forest should have won that game in a legal way, not in a we should have won that game against Alabama kind of way. Like the refs missed a call somewhere that would have, it's egregious. It's whatever.
It's football. It happens.
Yeah.
Tennessee and Mississippi State also played an overtime game, which
Mississippi State doesn't suck.
Ends up winning. Mississippi State seemingly does not suck.
Remember last week there was a curious line. Duke at Syracuse, like for whatever reason, Duke was the favorite, and it didn't make any sense.
Well, because Syracuse had lost their starting quarterback, and I knew that, but I still didn't think that mattered very much. But then Duke just absolutely trounces Syracuse.
Right, I just saw the final score. I was like, holy shit! Like, they did not even put up a fight.
Yeah. Anything else? We said Sam Pittman got fired. Now we've got Arkansas is an opening. West Virginia. No, not West Virginia. What the fuck are the openings? Virginia Tech, Arkansas, and who am I leaving out?
Is it UCLA? Who else is?
UCLA. All 3 of those jobs are open.
Do you think so? Like Bobby Petrino is the interim coach. I can't believe this guy is still around. A man
who, need we remind anyone, was fired in part because he dumped his motorcycle into the curb.
He was fired because he lied to his bosses, not because of anything else.
A 20-something-year-old intern was also on the motorcycle at the time. Notably not his wife.
One of the greatest images of him with the neck brace at the press conference.
Yep.
It's just an amazing visual. But anyways, he's the interim head coach, but he is making moves, right? Didn't he fire a bunch of coordinators and position coaches?
I'm sure he wants the job.
Yeah, so it seems like maybe that job is not as open as it looks like. If he takes command of the team and they salvage the season, maybe he's the guy.
There's some statistic. I should have saved it. The amount of good teams that Arkansas had, that Sam Pittman had to play at Arkansas was disproportional to everybody else.
Oh, really?
Arkansas had, for his entire tenure, the toughest schedules.
Sam Pittman rebuilt that fucking program.
And yeah,
it was great. Sam Pittman was great for that program. He was
great.
If they could have not been humiliated by Notre Dame this weekend, if they could have made it respectable, I think he keeps his job for the rest of the year. And then I don't know how old he is. I don't know how much he wants to keep coaching, but he could have gotten the Brian Snitker treatment with the program there in Fayetteville, where they're like, hey, look, you can't coach anymore, but if you would like to stay on in an advisory capacity and help us out here, then that would be great. That's what the Braves have done with Brian Snitker, guy who's been with the Braves organization for 50-plus years. Started as a minor league catcher before having that career fizzle out and quickly becoming an instructor with the team. And he's been around, like I said, for 50 fucking years. And yeah, he won't be back on the field managing the team anymore, but he will be essentially an emeritus member of the organization for as long as he lives. It's just a bummer that
also
Pittman will not be afforded that courtesy.
there's reason with all these coaches getting fired, and it's like, who are you going to hire, and the buyouts and all that. UVA is a good example of like, maybe instead of finding a new coach, buy some players.
Right.
And like, why don't you try that?
Right.
And these four so far are not trying that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there are situations where it makes a ton of sense to get rid of your football coach, and it made less sense at UVA because UVA is not an attractive situation
Yeah,
the
but
way that
Virginia Tech.
Arkansas is potentially an attractive situation. Virginia Tech, I read or heard something on the radio today.
Promised to spend a bunch of money.
Virginia Tech, their board of governors or whatever, has just said they're going to spend a big pile of money on the football program in the next decade or whatever. So that no doubt includes money for coaches and money for players. So in the hopes of making that a more appealing job, presumably. But Virginia Tech, I think, is a very appealing job. I don't think it's as appealing a job as Arkansas is. I think if you can
Oklahoma State.
Right, Oklahoma State was the school that I couldn't come up with, and since you're not paying attention, you weren't able to supply it with me either.
My
Oh,
mom
that's right,
sold
Gundy.
the townhouse. I'm sorry. I was excited.
Right, yeah, it's Oklahoma State. That's another
right.
potentially very good job. But yeah, I think Arkansas is at least as good as any of those jobs are.
You
Like,
would-
if you can be, because if the Ole Miss job is as good as the Ole Miss job apparently is, right? Lance Kiffin has them undefeated.
Yeah.
They are competing for the SEC championship and therefore a likely playoff team. Like, would you jump to Florida now if that Florida job came open and you're happy in Oxford? Like, I don't know that Florida is necessarily an actually better job than Ole Miss. You don't have the absurd expectations of competing for a national title every year, right? You only have, if you go 9-3 and make the playoff every 3 or 4 years, they're going to be fucking happy with you there.
Right. I mean, the one issue I would have with Arkansas, it's not for a lack of trying that it didn't work out with Pittman. Like, he's a good coach. So if he can't make it, like, I would rather, if I were a coach, go to Vatech or somewhere else. Like, I don't know if I would want to go to Arkansas because, like, there must be some sort of infrastructure deficiency or something in there that is hard to compete against the other SEC teams.
Recruiting's hard because you're kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Right. So basically,
So
yeah.
they have to like go to Texas, and then you're competing with all the Texas places.
Right. So I wonder if there are some challenges that are not obvious. So, like, I don't know who they're going to get. I mean, maybe Petrino will stick around, but I don't know. I would try Vatech first.
Yeah. All right. I guess we can wrap up that part of our conversation about last weekend. A bunch of fun games in contrast with this weekend.
It would have.
Oh, I'm so excited for this weekend, but we're talking about that tomorrow?
No, we're doing this is all in one. This is a
Oh.
week 5 recap and a week 6 preview show all in
Okay.
one.
This didn't happen, but if Georgia won, like, what would that have been as an experience for you guys? As far Friday in person and then Saturday a bunch of good games with a Georgia win. It would have been a nice,
Much better.
right? Just a nice weekend. But
Oh, it would have been a perfect weekend. Are you kidding me? And what's amazing is that after the way that game started, we're watching that game, and I didn't do my stand up and try to will the dogs to hunker down one time until the fourth quarter, right? Like, but in starting like halfway through that third quarter, it became like, wow, we can still win
Right.
this game.
Yes.
Who would have fucking thought that we are still in this game and that we might actually pull this off? It was an absolutely fun game, like an undeniably fun game to watch once you got through those first couple of series. But yeah, let's move on to the best game in every time slot for this week.
Oh, I'm so excited.
In stark contrast to Lori, I would like to posit, starting with Friday night, that this is the worst Friday, not just for football. This is the worst Friday for pop cultural entertainment relative to its potential in a very long time.
Is there no baseball either?
Because we're in college football season, right? So presumably you should be able to turn on the TV on a Friday night and watch a pretty good college football game. We're in the middle of the baseball playoffs. There are no
Wow.
playoff baseball games scheduled for Friday. It's a built-in off day for all of the. It's the in between the wild card series ending and the division series starting, and what should be, what are we, a week into October? A good weekend for new movies at the box office, if that's more your flavor of thing to go do with your time.
Great British Baking Show.
But we are getting no good Friday night football games. No playoff baseball games. And the only movie coming out in wide release is this the Smashing Machine
Dwayne "The Rock"
starring
Johnson, yeah.
The Rock, which looks, well, it's one of those pro sports movies, like any sort of these wrestling or boxing movies can go one of two ways. You can go like the Ron Howard direction, the Cinderella Man, right? This big like epic sort of mano-a-mano thing, or they can turn them all the way up to 11, right? They just whatever dials you have at your fingertips, you can just turn them all the way up, and that's how you get like The Wrestler. There's like that. I think there's a Jake Gyllenhaal boxing movie that I never watched, but I saw the previews for,
that's right.
And it just looks like they just turned everything all the way up to 11.
Yeah.
And with this The Rock movie, it's like, facial prosthetics, turn those all the way up to 11. Emily Blunt, make her look like she's got huge fake tits, turn her all the way up to 11, and have her do hysterical screaming shit. The Rock, have him just fucking shirtless and yelling and throwing shit around the living room. Turn him all the way up to 11.
Does he do anything else, though?
That could be a good production company all the way up to 11. You know what you're getting. It's like A24. It's like we're going exactly in that certain direction.
And I don't know, maybe it'll turn out to be a perfectly fine movie, but like to me it's like I don't want to go watch that. Oh, and also sorry, I've forgotten they are re-releasing Avatar 2
that's right.
Yes.
this weekend in 3
Trying
dimensions.
to get people ready for the December release of the third one. Come on.
So, I submit that this is the worst pop cultural weekend in terms of your ability to go out and find something worth engaging with relative to its potential.
Friday or weekend? Because you have more baseball coming back.
Friday specifically, is a big zero relative to its potential.
Right. And September, October is a peak sports kind of period.
Right. It should not be this bad. The Friday night games are awful. They're not. I didn't pick a game. I said no bonus.
West Virginia BYU would be the good one, but it doesn't start till 10:30.
There are 5 games, and none of them are worth watching. West Virginia BYU, as Lori is saying, that's a 19-point spread. So you have to wait until Saturday for the best game in any time slot or every time slot to begin. And the nooner, it's a Kentucky nooner at home. Now, normally, I would be worried about a nooner against Kentucky. If we had won that game against Alabama, I would have thought, oh, man, Georgia's going to come out flat. The fans are going to come out not giving a shit. I sort of suspect the fans are going to come out not giving a shit this weekend. I don't think that we come out flat, though. I think that they're going to feel like they have something to prove. Georgia's the 20.5-point favorite.
I haven't picked anything.
I don't think Kentucky is going to put up a fight like they did last year. If we can run the ball for 9-10 yards a go against the Alabama defensive line, I suspect we should be able to do much of the same against Kentucky. I think the Dogs win this one handily. But yeah, I think at noon, that's kind of one of the only games worth watching. The only other game that I have, put this on your second TV, number 14, Iowa State. Plus
I totally disagree.
1.5 at Cincinnati on ESPN2. What is the other noon game that you want to watch?
UNC hosting Clemson.
I knew that you were going to say that, but
It's so exciting.
why is that exciting?
Because they're just sad programs now.
They're bad football teams right now.
I know, but bad
why do you want to watch
teams-
Clemson win like 24-7 against
bad
UNC?
football teams who started the year with like all of the hope and expectations, and for very different reasons have just crashed and burned.
All right. Well,
And
I'll go to the ball field
there's
early,
going
and you
to
can
be-
you can watch that.
I have to deal with whatever. There's going to be a Ludacris concert beforehand at 10 a.m.
All right.
Oh, look at that.
All right. So, like I said, it's a bad weekend in college football.
But this could be like, on paper bad, but it could end up being fun.
Sure, there might be exciting games, but like if usually, I mean, look, Illinois is playing Purdue. All right, that sucks. Boston College and Pitt, that sucks. Wisconsin is playing. He's like, okay, maybe the Michigan game will be good. No, Wisconsin sucks ass. Wisconsin, Michigan is not worth
Florida.
watching. We're getting there. I'm still in the noon window here.
Yeah, the noon window
Air
is the
Force, Navy.
weakest window of Saturday.
Yeah. All right. Moving on though, 3:30 window. You can turn on ABC. And by the way, first game I said Kentucky Georgia ABC. Second game here Vanderbilt, number 16 Vandy traveling the 10.5 point underdog on the road at Alabama. Vandy continuing to be disrespected. Also an ABC game, and we've talked about how CBS not getting these SEC games feels weird, and it still does. I can't get over how bad the CBS slate of games reliably is. They are getting fucked.
Yeah, what is their marquee game this weekend? Like, what's going
in the bidding process?
CBS has Penn State at UCLA.
Right.
Wow.
And College Football Inquirer, I think, made this point, which is CBS still puts out a tremendous television product. Like, they put more cameras on the field and in more interesting positions than ESPN or Fox does, right? Like, they treat this broadcast almost like the NBC Sunday night football telecast, where they pour all of their resources into it. As a product, it looks fantastic. They have a pretty good play-by-play set up there with Gary Danielson still doing the color, and the fucking Brad Nessler or something doing the play-by-play.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is, it's an A+ television product, and they keep putting out like D+, C- football games.
It's like
and,
A plus production, C- D product.
Right. And that's a bummer. Like,
Yeah.
let CBS back in the club. What are we doing? Let
Right.
them make a good television product for all of us.
Pretty solid. This is like a triple header for ABC, right? I mean, they got the Georgia, Kentucky, then they have the.
All right, relax. Don't get ahead of things here. I'm still in the 3:30 window.
Well, you're taking too long.
Second TV, double box time at 3:30. Texas, number 9 in the country, -6.5 at Florida on ESPN. And then also Virginia, number 24 in the country, +6.5 points on the road at Louisville. Is Virginia any good? Is the defense capable of slowing down a Louisville team that has scored a ton of points? Vegas doesn't think so.
Yeah.
And so the just one loss that Virginia has so far going into Louisville. It would be really fun though if Virginia could win this game.
It would be really fun if Virginia hosted a playoff game and it was against Georgia.
That's a really unlikely scenario.
Well, we're saying things are fun.
Right. Save this audio segment, Bob.
Yeah. All right. And then evening window, 7:30, number 3, Miami, -4.5 at number 18, Florida State. As Abe is saying here, that's the third leg of the ABC triple header. That one should be fun. I don't know if I have this game in my pick'em or not, but I think Miami handles this game pretty easily. They had a bye week. Florida State was shown to be susceptible to a halfway decent offense, and Miami has better than halfway decent offense. And I don't know. I don't see this one. I think Florida State is on the downswing here after their big win against Alabama to start the year.
It'll be interesting to see how they respond to that loss to Virginia. Like, this should be a fun game. Like, I don't think Miami's going to pull away, but, like, it should be interesting, two in-state rivals. It should be a fun game.
Yeah, for sure.
And they did almost beat Virginia. Like,
Yeah,
double
yeah,
overtime.
that's
Not
true.
like they got destroyed.
Going
All
back
right,
to
and
that, before you get to the later game, that Texas Florida game, I wonder like how Arch is going to perform, because this is like at Florida. It's a big kind of opportunity for him to kind of like erase whatever doubts people had about him from that first game against Ohio State. Like, do you anticipate some stumbling again from Arch?
I think this is going to be kind of an ugly game. Yeah, I will not be surprised if Florida ends up winning this game.
Yeah.
But, I mean, who knows? Texas should win this game, right?
Yeah. Should is key. Yeah.
All right, second TV in the 7 o'clock window, Mississippi State plus 14.5 at number 6, Texas A&M on the SEC network.
That's my least favorite uniform matchup.
Texas A&M, not great against Auburn. Like I said, it was a bit of a defensive struggle against Auburn last week. Mississippi State, on the other hand, got into something of a shootout with Tennessee and forced that game into overtime. So a good test for Texas A&M here, especially because A&M currently undefeated, and I know that they have to play Texas, but their schedule lines up kind of nicely for them to make the SEC championship game, as I recall. Yeah, because they have this game against the Bizarro Bulldogs, and then they have Florida next week. They have Arkansas, who's obviously a bit of a mess. LSU is highly beatable. Mizzou could be an interesting game for them, and then South Carolina before finishing with Samford and Texas to close out their season. So, I mean, it's not an impossible path for A&M, and if they're any good, then they should beat. They're 14.5-point favorites at home against Mississippi State. If that game turns out to be a difficult one after a close one against Auburn, I think we can say that there's something of a fraud in all likelihood. And then I've got nothing for the late window. I maintain an awful Friday night, but then also not a terribly good overall slate of games for the weekend. Did I miss any games, Lori? You're saying you're so excited for the weekend, and so far you have said it's because of Dabo Swinney and Bill Belichick.
Florida and Texas is the other thing I'm very excited about. And Alabama, Vanderbilt, although I think Alabama is going to win big.
All right, let's move along here to the 2025 CIB Football Pick'em Contest. It was no getting around it. It was another ugly week for the crew here.
Yeah, a lot of red.
A lot of red on the spreadsheet. Lori, the only one with more green games than red games, and that is reflected in our current point totals. Lori out in front with 77. Abe second place with 70 points. Cousin Steve in third with 57. And I continue to man the caboose with a mere 50 points. The only game I got right last week was that Oregon outright win over Penn State. Missed 4 games. Abe, your history of trauma led you to pick Alabama, and that turned out to be correct, along with Notre Dame. But yeah, otherwise, a pretty ugly week overall. All right, week 6 here. I've got Cousin Steve's picks handy. He's taking Vandy as the double-digit underdog against Alabama. He's got Virginia as the 6.5-point underdog outright winner against Louisville, and then he's got 3 NFL games. The Panthers as home dogs against the Dolphins. He's taking the Colts minus the points, and the Lions minus 10.5 points also. Colts playing the Raiders, and the Lions are up against the Bengals, who are Burrowless, and as I heard someone describe them, as the current NFL schedule's get-right game for everybody who gets to go up against the Bengals right now.
Yeah.
All right. I see Lori is still filling out her selections.
I got it. I didn't know we were doing this.
And there we go. Lori's got Florida plus 6.5 points against Texas. She's got Clemson minus 13.5. Syracuse catching 17.5 points on the road at SMU, and then Wyoming as the home underdog against UNLV, and Cal as the home underdog against the visiting Dukies. Abe, what games are you picking this week?
So I'm not as bullish on Georgia as you are, so I'm thinking Kentucky's going to keep it within 3 scores. They're going to win, but so I got Kentucky plus 20.5.
What does that do to the Georgia, if not the team's mindset, then the fan base's mindset? If we cannot come out and spank Kentucky and show that, no, we're still Georgia.
Yeah.
Does that fuck with us in further, like psychologically? Are we in trouble?
I think time will tell. Basically, the Ole Miss and the Texas games will be more determinative of that.
Yeah, I think you're thinking of a different Georgia team.
I think this Georgia team's probably gonna be like a 2 to 3 loss kind of in that neighborhood, right? I don't think it's gonna be against Kentucky, but like it's not like that kind of team where they'll just come out and just put up 60 points on poor hapless Kentucky. But one can hope. Iowa State, a top 15 team, getting points. So why not? Let's go with that. I know nothing about Cincinnati, so who knows? But I got Iowa State to win. I'm like Lori had Florida. I think they're gonna keep it within a field goal or so. I'm not confident enough to say that they're gonna win. So Florida plus 6.5. Similar to Florida State, I think they'll keep it close against Miami. FSU plus 4.5. And then the one lone NFL game, I have the Vikings laying the points against the Browns. This is an international game. Fun fact, Dylan Gabriel will be I believe this is according to CBS Sports, the first NFL quarterback to have their debut on international ground. Like basically, this is
This line is weird. I know the Vikings don't have what's his name back. JJ McCarthy, I don't think is back yet.
Yeah,
but the Browns have not been good. They're changing quarterbacks. They're starting an unproven, untested rookie.
Yeah.
And it's only 3.5 points.
Yeah, so that part is weird. Maybe I don't know, but like I'm thinking, the Vikings are a pretty good team, pretty blitz heavy. Dylan Gabriel, maybe the time zone will fuck him up, but you would imagine that this should be an easy cover. So
where is this?
In London, I believe.
Oh, okay.
All right, and my games this week, I'm also taking Vanderbilt just for the lulls,
and
as it were.
And a 20-point opportunity, right?
20-point opportunity. Can't pass it up. Man, I would love it so much if after they got this win against us, they go back home to Tuscaloosa and Vanderbilt beats them.
It would be awesome, but also even more frustrating.
No.
Why can't
Not got anything. Nope.
I mean, I don't understand.
Nope.
I mean, why is this why are these bum teams beating Alabama but we can't? It's just.
I'll take it. I will take it as well. Miami minus 4.5 points on the road in Tallahassee. I'll take Kansas State as the outright winner against Baylor.
Wow.
They are 6.5 point favorites. 6.5 point dogs on the road at Baylor. And then moving to the NFL, the Jackson Dart era has begun in earnest for the New York Football Giants.
They beat Herbert's Chargers like that.
Yeah, you thought that we were feeding Jackson Dart to the wolves.
I know.
Little did you know that's where Jackson Dart likes to feast.
Everything is coming up Ole Miss, I guess. I don't know. I was wrong about Dart.
I don't know that you were wrong about Dart. I think he completed 13 passes or something.
Important passes, as it turns out.
We'll see how that goes. But I'll take the Giants. The Saints are bad. And, yeah, I think Spencer Rattler still is down there working for the Saints, right? Surely the Giants and Jackson Dart are better than Spencer Rattler.
So many awful quarterbacks at the NFL currently.
And then I'll take the Bucks plus 3 on the road in Seattle against the Seahawks.
Wow.
But I don't want the points. I'll take them outright. I think the Bucks are going to win that game. Maker Bayfield is a real annoying pain in the ass. He's a real hardo. But I think after they very nearly, who did they have last week? I forget. It was a close game that they ended up losing. It was the Eagles, I think, they lost to.
Yeah, I think so. This could be a you can double your points in just one weekend. This is a very aggressive.
I keep swinging for the fences, thinking that something's going to work out, and I keep getting very few points every week.
You're about to hit. I think you should stick with the strategy. Feast or famine. I mean, it's been mostly famine so far, but
well, look here. It's October now, which means I know things again.
That is true. Yeah, that's you're past the worst. So now you're in your prime. This month is yours.
Speaking of people who have gone through the first part of the season not knowing anything, and it's showing up in their gambling balance, it's now time to go to heaven and Plains, Georgia, where we will hear from former President of the United States, Jimmy Carter, for the CIB Presidential Lock of the Week.
Hello once again to my dear friends at Cast Iron Balls, and also to Abe, who I understand has made it home safely from his travels abroad. Thank goodness. No more vacations, though Abe, he leaves the country for 5 days, and they shut the whole darn government down. I know they say that correlation does not equal causation, but from up here, from the perspective of heaven, and as you really start to get the sense that it's all causation. The thing is, it's either all connected, or none of it is, right? If causation exists at all, it seemingly has to be the case that every little atom and molecule of physical reality has a small little effect on the little atom and molecule right next to it, and so on and so forth, all the way around the universe, until it comes back around the other way. To believe in one's ability to make a change to anything at all is to acknowledge tacitly, at least that one's actions have a direct result on everything. Every breath you take another ripple through the fabric of reality, causing the universe to find a new note to harmonize with your attempt at distortion. It all works because it has to, a perfectly self-balancing system of cause and effect for which every conscious being is both entirely responsible and entirely blameless. Either that or everything is merely surprisingly coherent pandemonium, the random unfolding of all possible possibilities, just one of which we happen to be enduring at any given moment. I can't rule that out from here, either. I guess there's always the possibility of yet another higher perspective from which it all makes sense, but perhaps from which the senselessness becomes undeniable. Speaking of senselessness, you can butter my bottom with last week's bacon grease and paddle me silly, because a blue-haired rooster trying to hatch a chick from a cow pie has a better chance of standing up and revealing a winner. I just don't know what to tell you, except to never gamble more than you can afford to lose, and that these presidential locks of the week are not financial advice. But go ahead and put the mortgage on Clemson minus the 13.5 points against North Carolina. That's a big number. But Belichick is taking day trips to New England to look at the fall foliage with his child bride on the off week. So I'm not sure he's fully committed to the bit down there in Chapel Hill. As always, enjoy the games with good food and drink, and most importantly, good company. And be kind to one another. For gosh sakes, almost nothing matters besides that. May God bless this great nation and this great podcast. Until next time, this is Jimmy from Plains for Cast Iron Balls.
I think Jimmy's on solid ground this weekend, but who knows? It'd be funny if he continues to lose this year.
That's looking rough. Just 1 in, was he 1 in 4, 1 in 5?
Yeah, something like that.
Jimmy, waxing poetical, philosophical up there in heaven this week.
Notre Dame will do that to you.
You've been listening to Cast Iron Balls, a podcast about sports with Bob and Abe. Laurie's here too. You can find us on Substack, brainiron.substack.com for more from us, including the Billboard Hot 100 game, which we recorded last week without the help of Abe. It was an Abe-less Billboard Hot 100 game.
I have yet to listen to that episode. What would happen in a tie? Like, what's the tiebreaker? The cat? Like, who
It'd
chimed
be a
in?
tie.
I guess there would have been a tie, but there was no tie.
Okay.
Don't you worry. That's brainiron.substack.com for all of that. Also, the opening and closing themes of the show are composed by Mark Gillig, tetramermusic.com, Tetramer music.com. For more from Mark. Abe, anything else in the world of sport catch your fancy this week? Did you get to go to the pub and watch the footy match?
No, I did not. It just proved more hassle than it was worth, so I just went to the British Museum instead on that Saturday afternoon.
Nice.
And see a lot of stolen goods or things that fell off trucks and whatnot. But it was a nice spread that they had over there. But no, I did not go to an English Premier League or even go to a pub to watch it. The only bit of note that's sports related because I don't have much because I didn't not watch a lot of sports this weekend.
Did you watch A.D. Mitchell fumble
Yes,
a ball
this
through the
fucking
end zone
sack
for the
of
Colts
shit,
to lose a football
and then
game?
he had a hold on another play that called a touchdown back. 14 points, this idiot. Low IQ. You cannot get a lower IQ than this fucking asshole.
What about George Pickens?
Yeah, I'm gonna create a roster of shitty former dogs, and those two are right up there. But last week I made mention of like this bogus pipeline of like sports and politics, you know, with Vince Dooley's kid, and Bruce Pearl's kind of hinting at it, although he's not confirmed yet.
Feinbaum.
We have now Paul Feinbaum throwing his name in like I don't understand what's going on in Alabama/Georgia, but Paul Feinbaum wants to be like a senator? What's going on?
I don't know. I cannot. Like, and Stephen A. Smith has a politics show now, right?
Yeah. It's just this is going to be the next 10 years, I guess.
This will leak into very short CI brains that we're going to do here in a minute.
Oh,
but
yeah?
But it makes me want to not talk about stuff. Right? Like it makes me realize how pointless it is for me to say anything.
Oh.
If
keep it up.
Stephen A. Smith and Paul Feinbaum and Tommy Tuberville and Bruce Pearl are the people who are like part of the conversation in any meaningful way.
Right. But you know,
in a way that's more depressing to me than the existence of like Jesse Waters and Tucker Carlson for some reason. Right. Like Sean Hannity has been a dummy for fucking 40 years on the radio, and that didn't convince me that all of this was fucking stupid and pointless.
Right.
But for some reason, the easy transition of Tommy Tuberville from head football coach to senator from Alabama to now likely governor of Alabama, and Paul Feinbaum from, like, if he wants it, perhaps a Republican senator from Alabama. Like, what are we doing?
Right. You know how like the movie industry, the film industry is just it's based on IP. Just like you've heard of that. Like Freaky Friday, let's run that back. Like that Alien thing, let's run that back. Basically, the only cachet that exists is just a known IP, and maybe this is what we're getting here because like people watch sports. That's like the one common denominator. So if name recognition does a lot of the heavy lifting, people know Paul Feinbaum in Alabama, right? In the whole region.
They hate him.
Right. But they know him. Like just the name recognition, and all he's gonna do is just plaster like an R next to his name and talk up, you know, the prominent leaders of the party. And you're home free. Basically, that's all that you need. You just need. I mean, it did not work for the Georgia great here. What's his face? Herschel. But for the most part, name recognition gets you far. And I wonder if that's what's happening.
I mean, to
here.
his credit, Paul Feinbaum is not like a notorious domestic abuser and schizophrenic, right? He's got that going for him.
That's true. But yeah, I just wonder like if it's just like all just name recognition and like that's it. You know, like, hey, vote for me. You know me. You've seen me on TV.
For a guy who he's born in Tennessee, went to the University of Tennessee, and has spent his whole life in the South.
It's awfully Jewish.
He does not read, like his whole presentation
Very Jewish.
is very Northeastern Jew.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. So I wonder if
I wonder if you changed his name, because like I hear the name Paul Feinbaum, and I'm like Jewish guy.
Right.
What's he do?
I mean, if it was Paul Goodbuddy and he still looked like that and talked
that's
like
what
that.
I wonder how, because I'm predisposed. I don't know.
Well, you really could go off like on a attack ad for him. I wouldn't mind joining the other side. You know, like whoever he's running against in the primary. It seems like it would be very ample opportunities to take a digs at him.
Yeah, I mean, it's so stupid that like it will just come down to whoever Trump endorses in the Republican primary is going to be who becomes the senator from Alabama. And Feinbaum is like, I'm a television personality. I could probably get Trump's endorsement.
Right, and he's He's 70, I believe, so he's entering his political prime. So this is all great.
Lori, anything else in the world of sport catch your fancy?
No.
We've got baseball both days this weekend, and I'm not even.
That's the thing. I'm
remotely
annoyed
bummed
because
about
I want to
it.
tell Abe about stuff that we don't want to record. Now it's going to be too late.
Our little league is playing on both Saturday and Sunday. I guess I'm gonna, and then Calvin's has got a soccer game at like 11:30 on Saturday also. So I might just miss the entirety of the Georgia game and have to watch it later. Abe, have you got anything else for us tonight?
Nope.
Well, I guess that's all we've got for you tonight then, and we will talk to you next time.
Later.
It all works, because it has to. A perfectly self-balancing system of cause and effect for which every conscious being is both entirely responsible and entirely blameless.
The proceeding was created with 100% human content.